Yo, what's up, guys? Dragon Ball Dave back with another Dragon Ball Daima episode review. I'm just gonna share my thoughts on it. Today we're gonna be talking about episode 14, entitled Taboo, which released on January 17th, 2024. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, first I want to start off by saying I'm still digging Daima, but this episode was very kind of like lackluster. Uh, it did progress the story, but we had that 1 week off, and then we had a slow episode last week with minor lore building. And now this did have some cool stuff in it. I'm going to talk about it as we come to it. But I was overall kind of just disappointed with the lack of, I guess, action or impact from this episode. I was really hoping that they were going to get the ball rolling again. I feel like they kind of dropped it after Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. But I don't want to hate on it too much because like I said, I'm still eating Daima up. I do enjoy this show. So, let's just go through this episode. So the episode opens up with, the main crew, Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Pansy, Glorio, Shen, and Bulma, and Hyvis, all on the plane. Glorio tells Pansy, the ship's running better than whatever it was before, so her little engineer work is good. Then she uses the radio and calls her buddy Peril, that guy we've seen before, who doesn't have pointy ears. But she calls him and says, hey, just wanted to let you know we got the second Demon World Dragon Ball, and we're going to head to the third Demon World. I'm sorry, the first Demon World. And he asks her, like, why did you call him from a radio? Like, why didn't you call me from your phone? And she's like, because the Kraken made or whatever. But she tells him that they're heading to the first Demon World. And Peril says that King Kadan actually went out to go steal a plane because he's also trying to go to the first Demon World. Now, Pansy tells him, you don't need to worry about it. These guys are really strong. But it's kind of interesting. I wonder what that's going to build up to with Kadan going to the first Demon World. I hope he doesn't get killed, man. I don't want to see Majin Ku or Kadan get killed, man. I don't. Maybe that'll be good for story building, I guess, but I don't really want to see it. So hopefully he doesn't go and just to become a victim trying to protect his daughter. He's still got a collar on. He's still fodder for now. But then we cut to as the ship is approaching warp. It then cuts to the Demon King Palace, and you got Goma and Degasu, and Goma's like, okay, so where's the military police at? And he's like, they're all gathered, we're going to be ready. And he's like, okay, more importantly, where are the special forces at? And like I said last week in my prediction, I don't think the guy that was chewing on the little thing is going to be a big deal. Well, that is what he was, though. He's one of 5 members of this special demon realm military police force, I guess. I don't know what to call them. They're in there just snacking, and Goma, when they see Goma, they're like, oh, and they go and start doing their poses. And this is the Ginyu Force, this is Pride Troopers, this is Super Sentai. This is kind of goofy. I'm not sure what their relevance is. The leader is called Captain Kadam. Then number 2 is Daima. And like I said, they're just kind of weird. Number 3, his name was Hylia, or I think that could be a girl. I'm not sure. I think it's a guy. Number 4's name was Mashim, and then the 5th one was I guess it'll tell me here in a second. Gayamo or whatever. But like I said, they're kind of goofy looking. I think these guys are just going to be introduced to be fodder for Piccolo. But they do all these goofy little poses and they tear up the lobby. But Goma tells them, like, hey, we got to be serious. We got guys who are trying to invade. You don't let them here. And Degasu explains that they're no joke. They defeated the Tamagamis and Boo. And these guys are like, yeah, right. They're just joking. And so they don't even believe it. And then Degasu tells them he's not joking. And they still don't believe it. They think he's exaggerating. So they're really goofy. Like I said, I think they're going to be Piccolo fodder. Because Piccolo hasn't really got to do nothing yet. I think that's literally what it's going to be. Then, as they leave or whatever, Goma tells them to, you're going to pay for all the damages to the lobby. Because during their little posing thing, they just shot up the lobby for no reason. It was really dumb. But, they were kind of cool. But we then get a little map. Okay, and this map of the Demon World. And this was really neat because, we've been kind of theorizing on how this stuff works, but the way it goes, it sort of, it sort of shows like, I don't even know how to describe the chart, but maybe I'll put a picture in there if I can. But basically, it's like, imagine an apple and layers to it, or maybe like the earth, and just layers to it. And then the third demon world is all the way on the outside, all the way around. It's the biggest area. And then the second demon world is the in between that. And so it's like you would go from the crust to the mantle to the core. And I think actually Geekdom did that in this video too. And that's probably a good way to explain this little chart they show. But they're basically explaining, that these guys are on their way. I'm sorry, not these guys. The Z Warriors are on their way to the first demon world. Like I said, it's very interesting to see how it looks. It almost kind of looks like an eye, the way the thing is. I'll see if I can get a picture put up on there for you guys. But, that's neat, or at least I think it's neat. I was under the impression that macrocosm that we have from all of Toriyama's stuff and all the guidebooks would be more like the third demon world was on top, and then it went the second demon world, and then the first demon world. And that's kind of how it looks like in the series so far, but this map doesn't show it that way. So, that's interesting. It shows it from a side view, like they're going sideways into it. And from my perspective, it was like at the bottom of the macrocosm working down. This is like more like working into the center. So, whatever. That's neat. This is an actual map of the stuff in the series, not in a guidebook, not described in an interview somewhere. This is actually something we got here, so I'm digging it. I think it's neat. It's actually one of the highlights of the episode, in my opinion. We then cut back to the main Z crew, and they're all, the Daima crew, I guess is what I should call it now. But they're arriving at Warp, and they see Warp's kind of, knocked out because in the last episode, Degasu hit the switch on him. And, they pull up, and Goku uses the power pole and pokes at him. Like, like, hey, wake up. And he doesn't move. He's like, oh, wow, he's really out. Neba tells him that, he thinks that it was actually Goma had the switch shut off, which he's right, which is very interesting that Neba would know that. I've not been really too suspicious of Neba at first, but after this episode, I really got to say I think Neba's up to something, guys. There's just been too many instances, which I'll talk about as we get going here. But Goku decides he's going to go ahead and, test the shield of light that's beneath him. They're like, well, we can't go through the tunnel. What else are we going to do if Warp shut off? And Goku's like, does it really not work? And he takes the power pole and he extends it down. And I really thought we were going to see something awesome with this. I thought we were going to see like, oh, look at that, man. It'll take you to the heavenly realm and, the outside world, but it's going to have powers in the demon realm as well. And it did not. As soon as it hit the barrier, it stopped, and then lightning came right up, and it fried Goku like a fish. He starts falling down, and he falls incredibly slow. So then we have Neba step forward and say, I guess I'll, since I'm here, I'll help. And he flies. He shows us he can fly. And, man, this stuff was actually kind of crazy. Neba goes out there, and he says the little chant that was in the teaser for the Dragon Ball Daima trailers when it was first being, promoted or whatever. That Potato Dorisi, I don't know what the hell he says. But he actually starts saying that, and he tells right before that he's going to air the demon realm out a little bit. And I'm like, air the demon realm out? Like, whoa, what is this guy on here? Well, he says this little chant, and he sends two balls of light, one to the top, one to the bottom, and they go right past, the one that goes to the bottom flies right past Goku. And they land on the shields, and they just break the tunnels. They literally stop the tunnels from, being, sealed. And then, they're like, is it possible that you're the one who put these shield of lights in place in the first place? And Neba says, yeah. And so this is why I think this is crazy, because, every obstacle that's really been an issue, Neba has flat out overcome it. Flat out. And he's done too many it was just too convenient to have him around. When the Dragon Balls were stone, he had this magical power that he could turn them, not stone anymore. and that was really cool when he first did it. When the Tamagami 2 was losing to Vegeta, he realized, like, oh, I know what to do. I know what to do. I'll just amp him up a little bit. And so that was two things in a row there. And then now we have this, where we can't get through the demon, or to the other demon world, just because the shield of light is in the way and warps down. And he's like, oh, let me air out the demon realm. And so he just takes it away. And this is crazy. Now, there is a little bit of explaining why the shield was in place, though. Now, so it's, they kind of make it hard to say that Neva is a villain, but he's definitely got to be up to something. Because he could have done this at any time, man. At any time he could have done this. Now, I don't know if it's just, Goku popped up and it changed him seeing somebody who could defeat the Tamagamis, and, that's Goku's thing. He pops up and everybody changes their mind. He's been sitting here like a hermit or a monk for so long, not doing nothing, and now suddenly he's just active, airing out the demon realm. This was something that I thought was really cool in the episode, and it's probably this, along with that little map, or like I said, they're the highlights of the episode. But it's also like, what the heck? What's going on here? How do you have all this power? Like, hurry up and fight somebody. But, he does it, and Goku, like I said, got fried and was falling. Goku just, kind of wakes up and flies back up, and, that's it. He's okay. But he does say he thought he was done for. So I guess that did hurt. That was a big deal. But now they say they can just go through the tunnel because the tunnel's open. But, which is, wow. Should have hooked up with Neva in the first episode, I guess. Or in the second episode. But Goku's just like, that's amazing. That not bad, Gramps, But like I said, anyways, Neva explains that he put those shields there because people from the third demon realm would come in and, cause chaos in the second demon world. He says ruffians, exactly. They'd bully him, they'd fight him, they'd rob him. And then he says it's a bunch of arrogant fools, is the words he uses to describe from the first demon world. And when he does this, he actually shows us, he doesn't show us, a flashback shows us of some demons who, they have like horns, kind of like Deborah. And it's actually interesting because Deborah's father was the fat guy with like the little mustache thing, Abura. And Deborah's like the taller, skinnier version. I wonder if it's possible if that's a younger version of Abura and Deborah. Maybe they have the little horns though, same skin complexion, and they have the belts like he does. Now there's also two other, I guess, first worlder demons. I don't know if, maybe they're not demons. I don't know. They have like Zamasu's kind of clothes on, and they kind of look like Kai's. So maybe they're second worlders too, and they're just, I guess also in chaos. I don't know. They look like they're standing there next to the first worlders, like, so it's really hard to say what it actually is. But he explains though basically that that's why the Namekians left, and so he put up the shields to prevent the passage, and people used warp instead. Now, if I remember correctly, they said that this was also around the time that Abura was the Demon King. So that's why I think that is Abura and Dabura, just younger. But, this was all really interesting and stuff, and Piccolo notes like, whoa, you really are legendary. No Namekian can do that. And I wonder if that's like a little tell that, like, Neva's got maybe he's not really just a Namekian. Maybe there's something more. Maybe he's the villain I've been thinking about the whole time. Like I said, I've been saying that I think that Hybis has something bigger up his sleeve. I still believe that's his the evil third eye on his belt, but I don't know if he's actually for sure going to be a bad guy. He did the little dance for Vegeta when he beat Tamagami 2, and so that kind of makes it seem like he wasn't totally like a bad guy, I guess. But then they decide, I'm sorry, then, I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure. And I'd like to see what Glorio and Arinsu's bigger little thing is, too, because we don't know about that yet either. We just know she wants to become the demon world lady or whatever. Demon King. Now, they then decide, the Daima crew, to go through the tunnel, and they're on their way down. And then pans to Degasu and Goma, and Degasu says something interesting. He says, did you sense that? And Goma's like, what? I didn't hear nothing. Don't scare me like that, you know? And Degusu's like, it's almost like wind blowing. And I think this is interesting because these guys don't sense energy. The Glens in this, the demons, they don't sense energy. Unless they're like trained like Piccolo or something, you know what I mean? But they do feel something. They do sense something. And this goes into when Supreme Kai said he could feel Goku's energy all the way out from whatchamacallit, when Goku transformed into Super Saiyan 3 for Fat Boo and he was in the Kaioshin realm, he could still feel Goku's energy. So that was kind of, I guess interesting. Because now it shows that, there's different ways to sense stuff. You don't have to have an understanding in key control to get a feeling or, a hunch or just have a vibe about something. But, I thought that was interesting. But then it pans over to the Goma Mart, which is like a Walmart but with Goma's face on it. And I pointed out before in like episode 6, I think, that they had the Matchbox with Goma's face on it. And I thought that was kind of like fun. I guess, I don't know if Goma instantly built all this stuff when he became Demon King, or if he's always been a high up, so he's had stores and that's how he's been making his money and how he's got, I don't know what it is. Anyways, it's actually the knockoff Ginyu Force that's going to the Goma Mart, and they're buying a bunch of candy. And when they get in there, they bump into Majin Ku and Majin Du, who are also buying candy. Now, they don't, they actually take Ku and Du's candy, and Ku and Du think they're really cool for some reason. They tell them, like, when you get at a power level like ours, you can eat candy. And when they go to pay, it's like $10,000 or whatever, and they can't afford it. So they do what they can to make it work. They're like, this is all we have. But it ends up, it was just a little gag. I thought Majin Ku was going to end up like fighting with him, and then Du was going to just destroy him. And that didn't happen. So now I know those guys are fodder for Piccolo later. But they actually give Du and Ku a candy bar after they are leaving. And they're like, yeah, kids shouldn't eat too much candy, so here, you can have this one. And so that was kind of neat. It was, funny, innocent, kind of boring, kind of irrelevant. I don't care about those guys. I do like the Ku and Du interactions, but I'm not into the knockoff Ginyu Force guys. But then it cuts to Arinsu, and she also notices like a sound, is what she says. So it's not like wind blowing, like a sound. She senses and notices something, just like Degusu did. Then it pans back to our Daima crew, and the ship is not doing too good going through the tunnel. It's like about to break. And they ask what the temperature in the first demon world is. They say it's 60 degrees Celsius. So it's definitely going to be, toasty. Glorio says it has a small sun-like sphere that orbits it. So, like I said, about 60 degrees Celsius. And that's, Vegeta's like, there's no problem. And for pretty much all of them, they can all fly if the plane breaks down. So they're like, it's not a big deal. Now, for Bulma, 60 degrees Celsius is going to be a little bit rough. And even Pansy says, yeah, that's kind of hot, man. Hybus as well. He's like, I don't know about that. And Bulma's over here like, I can't fly. And Hybus says, oh, dang, so it's going to be hot and I have to carry you. And, Vegeta's like, no, I'm carrying her, duh. And Hybus like, oh, that's a relief. And I thought that was kind of funny, the little interactions with them. But I still don't trust Hybus. But they just kind of they decide to abandon the plane, and they all just jump out. And when they do, this is what I found a little bit interesting too. Hybus and Glorio both get to carry a Dragon Ball. Because Vegeta's, of course, carrying Bulma, and Goku's brain dead. And I thought it was really weird the way this happened. Because what's her name? Bulma says to Hybus, hey, are you going to fight too? And he's like, nah, I don't fight. And he's like, okay, then you carry the Dragon Ball then. And so now Hybus and Glorio, like I said, both have a Dragon Ball, and I think both of them are shady. We know for a fact Glorio's got an agenda. So, that's pretty much like a given that he's going to do something. Now I wonder if Hybus will mess it up with that. Or I don't know if they're in cahoots as well. Or actually, I don't know if Hybus is in cahoots with Arinsu, and Glorio just doesn't know. But anyways, as they're arriving in the first demon world, they come just like kind of dropping down, flying into the demon world. And it's actually kind of cool. It's almost like they're invading the first demon world. That's actually what it looks like. Bulma notes that it's extremely hot, and Glorio says it'll be a little bit better towards the surface. Like I said, 60 degrees Celsius, man. That's like... I live in America, so we use Fahrenheit. I don't know exactly what that is, but I'm pretty sure 60 degrees Celsius is like... That's going to be very, very hot. It's going to be very, very hot. It's going to be like 100-something degrees, I feel like. So, Bulma should be cooking, and, for Goku and Vegeta, that ain't going to be a big deal. Or Piccolo. Anybody who trained in the Room of Spirit and Time aren't going to have a big deal with it. But that is an insane temperature. Anyways, the military police notice, like I said, they're just flying in like a bunch of warriors here. And so they call Goma and say, hey, how'd they get here? We shut down Warp. What happened? And it's like, it appears that the tunnel is down. And Goma's like, huh? And he sees that Neba's with them. But it's almost like he doesn't instantly say that. They ask what could have happened, and it kind of focuses on Goku. And then that's where the episode basically ends. They, obviously they tell the military police to attack and stuff, execute a full-on attack. But that's pretty much where the episode ends. We just kind of get to that point where we're setting up for the big battle. And like I said, this is something that kind of bummed me out about this episode, because I was like, man, we've had enough filler now. We need to... Everything should be action-packed, best, huge lore, huge fights. That's what I want from here on out. And we've got a lot of lore that needs to just be touched up on a lot. So I think it'd actually be better if we had a few good fights instead. We don't really probably need to introduce any lore now. We just need to expand upon what we got. But then, like I said, we are in the middle of a battle though now. The military police are attacking, and they're all flying away from them, but I don't know why, because Goku could just power up and probably knock out all the military police. Which, this is hopefully going to be the build-up for, the Ginyu Force dudes to come get beat up. And then, if Do and Ku, if Do thinks that these guys are strong and it's a challenge, he might want to just go fight Goku and them. And if Goku finds out that Majin Do defeated Tamagami 1, he might lose total interest in Tamagami 1 and just want to go fight Majin Do. So that it'll be interesting to see kind of what happens with that. The next episode is actually called Third Eye, so we are going to find out about that. And it shows Deborah actually holding a key. And that's interesting because Deborah obviously is dead. So it's got to be some flashback about something. And I don't know how that's going to tie into it. But we also see, Goku and Vegeta, just in base form shooting blasts. These previews are so small, they don't tell us a lot about it. But we do have an idea that, I do think something big is going to happen. They can't give us, a week off and then 2 slow episodes without giving us something big. We're about to get something big. There should be a big fight for sure. Especially because Daima's only got, 5 episodes left, guys. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Or 6 episodes, So it's, I'm interested to see what they're going to do with this. That's pretty much all I got for now. If you have any thoughts, share them with me down below.